What does Starbucks, Rolls-Royce, and Apple have in common? The answer is that they're all brands. When I say their names, you instantly have an association with that product. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether you like it, whether you don't. And maybe you've got a story about it. Maybe a friend had a bad experience. Maybe something funny happened when you were at a Starbucks restaurant. The point is, you have some sort of association and story around that brand. But what if I told you that you are also a brand? And that actually, when people hear your name, there is something that's associated with that. Good things, bad things, funny stories, and things that you may rather weren't associated with your name. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Daniel James, and as always, if you're new here, welcome. So for me today, I want to talk about you being the product. And whether you like it or not, you are a product, you are a brand. So when your name is mentioned, what comes to mind? What do you think comes to other people's minds when they hear your name? Because that is your brand. Do they say things like, yeah, they're really reliable? She's quite creative. Well, Joe, if we need to get something done, if I'm ever in trouble, that's the person I'm going to call on. Do they say that you're extremely trustworthy? Or do they say that, you know what, always late, always makes excuses, it's always somebody else's fault, pretty lazy, or they're not very good at communicating. I don't really hear much from them. I don't know much about them. They never really talk, because all of these things are your brand. And it's important to realize that every action that you take, you're either building or destroying your personal brand. Now, why does this matter? Well, it matters not just if you're trying to get a job or you're trying to get a promotion. It matters because this affects your relationships. This affects your friendships. It also affects the kind of life that you want to have. Because if your reputation is somebody that's untrustworthy and you're trying to find a partner, let's say you're single and you're trying to find a partner, and you meet someone either on a dating site or you meet somebody out and about, and then they go on Instagram and it's like, oh, I've got mutual friends. And I'll say, oh, Dan, what do you think of this person? And if your brand and your reputation is you're a cheater, you're a liar, you're untrustworthy, what's going to happen with that person? They're going to turn around like, going to avoid that. That's because that is your brand. It's important to realize that it's like a business card. Like your reputation precedes you. It's like your currency. And a lot of times we don't think about this. We don't think about how other people speak about us. And again, I'm a very big believer that, again, you shouldn't care what other people think. I get that. But what is the image that you're giving off? What actions are you taking and how are they coming across? How are you being received by other people? Because you may be struggling in business. Maybe you're self-employed. Okay, well, what are other people saying about you? What are past customers saying about you? What are current customers saying about you? When it comes to your product, are you leading by example? This brand, do you lead by example? Are you constantly giving advice to people, but you're never following through? So all your friends are like, yeah, do you know what? They love to give advice about relationships, but can't find a good one themselves. Or they're always saying, yeah, do you know what? Always giving advice about saving money, but they're always broke. What do people say about you? Because it's so important. It's important, again, for the kind of people that we want in our lives. Because we're constantly putting out this negative image, and if you've got this negative brand, we're going to attract other negativity around us. We don't necessarily realize that we're attracting it. But you are a brand. So something to ask yourself, hypothetically, if I was to search your name on Google right now, hypothetically, what kind of stuff would I find? And if I was to go and speak to your employer right now, or your partner, or a friend, what three words would they use to describe you? What three words would they use? Because again, all three of them may have three different things to say. Well, isn't that interesting? So you've got three different brands for three different groups. When you're at work, when you're with your friends, when you're with your partner. Interesting. Why is that? Because once again, we're not being congruent. There's that true, authentic version of ourselves. Why are we wearing different masks for different things? I understand that we can't necessarily be how we are with our friends when we are at work. I get that. But there should be that core essence of you that is unchangeable, trustworthy, reliable, dependable, good communicator. I'm not saying the life and soul of the party. I'm not saying things like that. But then once you've got these words, okay, what 3 words would you want people to use to describe you? What 3 words would you want people to use to describe you? Because once you've got what people would say and what you want to say, there's the gap. And what we want to do is bridge the gap. How can we turn what our current brand is to what we want our brand to be? That is the gap that we need to get, the gap that we need to close. And how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, we need to become aware of it. We need to become aware of how we are coming across. We need to become aware of what we're saying. We need to become aware of how we're acting. We've got to take responsibility for it. Because a lot of times we don't take responsibility, and that's the thing that's causing us issue. So just have a look, just have a think. What is your brand? Are you proud of your brand, or does it need a massive brand makeover? If you've taken any value from today's episode, don't forget to like and share it with a friend. Until next time, take it easy.